She's UNESCO Chair in Bioethics, Section for Serbia, and the title of the presentation is Mental Health as a legitimate human right and factor of social cohesion and prosperity. So far, so good. Thank you very much, Bruce.
Mr. Chairman, dear colleagues, it is a pleasure to be part of this forum and to feel such great enthusiasm about all these important topics, including quality of life, humanism, human rights, and human values. As you already know, one of the basic human rights and values is health. And Mr. Chairman already mentioned, health is also an area which has and could have even more significant impact on regional cross-border cooperation. Mental health is a crucial part of health. There is a saying, there is no health without mental health. So mental health is part of individual health, but also part of the health, stability and development of every community and society. So accordingly, mental health is increasingly being referred to as mental capital. And promotion of mental health is set as one of the strategic objectives of the countries in the European Union. Of particular importance is, of course, mental health of young people, which is also proved by the fact that the World Youth Day this year was devoted to the topic youth and mental health. Let me tell you just a few things about the modern concepts of mental health. Being mental health doesn't mean simply absence of mental illness. Mental health includes much more than that. It includes feelings of life satisfaction, the ability of people to recognize and realize their potentials, to work in full intellectual, physical, and emotional capacity, to be socially integrated and contribute to community. So, although in many aspects these represent personal concepts, it is important to say that the role of government and every society is to provide an environment in which each person will have the opportunity to realize their potential. Supporting social contexts, a social climate that respects and affirms the basic human, socio-economic, cultural and political rights are necessary for the protection and promotion of mental health. Better mental health is precondition for better overall health, more effective education, more productive work, better interpersonal relations, safer communities, and other economic and social benefits. For all these reasons, the level of mental health of the population is one of the key resources and significant factor of prosperity, social justice, and social cohesion. And you know that's how it is formally, but in reality the situation is quite different. And according to the Stability Pact for Southeast Europe, mental health is often seen as a low priority by governments and communities. In spite of the fact that mental health problems in the countries in transition are becoming more serious and complex. For example, in Serbia, mental and behavioral disorders are in the second place on the list of leading health problems of the population, right behind the cardiovascular diseases. There is a significant increase in disorders associated with stress, depression, substance abuse, suicide rates, delinquency and violence. When it comes to the mental health of young people, recent research shows that morbidity structure is dominated by behavioral disorders, depression, suicide and addictive diseases. There is a popular saying in Serbia, in a way it's like this: it's not normal to be normal in these circumstances. Some of you who know Serbian will understand in Serbian, ko u ovoj zemlji ne poludi, taj nije normalan. So, starting from the very essence of the modern understanding of mental health, that man is valuable as he is and has the right to a full and active life in conditions which ensure dignity and active participation in the community, let me conclude that protection and promotion of mental health of all citizens, and especially of young people, as one of the national priorities, can be achieved only by creating the conditions for a normal life in the framework of further economic progress, humanization, and democratization of the society. As young leaders, I do hope that you will keep mental health as one of your key personal and social priorities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Milosevic. I think this is a key issue. We are always talking about mental barriers and how important mental health is. Thank you very much for introducing these elements. And I can see how the situation, the question is becoming more complex because we are touching the topic from very different spheres. I hope this will be also so interesting for you all. And please, talking to the participants, keep on thinking that I will ask you to make some questions or remarks afterwards. So it would be nice to have a couple of them. Well, now we will pass the floor to a good friend. Even it used to be my digital friend because we met the first time on the cyberspace, but we had the chance to meet each other also in June in Finland during a very interesting conference of the Association for Borderland Studies, which is an organization of academicians dealing with border issues all over the world. So if you have the chance, please get into their website because there are very interesting things. Gianfranco has a very fresh PhD on cross-border cooperation issues. He's an expert on the cross-border cooperation structures, and particularly the southeast of Europe. So I think he will give us a very interesting presentation about the role of Europeans and cross-border cooperation for an effective activity in this part of Europe, actually. So, Gianfranco, whenever you have your technical issues done, the floor is yours. I can keep on talking if you want.
Yes. I'm sorry if I will give you my mic. Anyway, thank you, Martin. Thank you for all the organization. You found a way? Okay. I just prepared a few slides to be, let's say, more active with the audience. I will try not to be too long. So I just concluded my PhD. It was a joint co-tutor between Ljljana in Belgium and Belgrade University in Sofia. I've been living in Sofia since 2012. So I focus my research on cross-border cooperation and new region in the Balkans, which is a real a fresh topic to be analyzed. The title for my PhD exactly is Euroregion and Cross-Border Areas in Southeast Europe, defining an effective model of the area, comparative analysis between Bulgaria, Albania and Fyrom. So basically I compared these three countries and some specific cases, 9 cases I will see in the 3 countries. So I started my research trying to answer to this specific question: how can a good model of cross-border cooperation structure be defined in terms of its policy entrepreneurship in Southeast Europe? And as you can see, I used the word cross-border cooperation structure and not Euroregion, because starting from the map of the AEBR 2011, there were no real active and effective Euroregion in these 3 countries, out of 1, which is Danubis 21, between Russia and Georgia, so Romania and Bulgaria. That's why I stretch a bit the analysis from Euroregion to cross-border structure, but I included in this definition of cross-border structure also the municipal offices working on cross-border cooperation of the different municipalities. what was the main tool that I used to analyze the level of cross-border activities of this CBC structure was the theory of policy entrepreneurship I took from Berkman, who is a scholar of the UK, and I readapt this theory for the area of Southeast Europe. So Berkman defines as policy entrepreneur a EU region with an autonomous organization capable to attract policy tasks and resources. So policy entrepreneurship measures the degree to which EU region represent actual actors able to shape their environment. And so basically how they can maximize the opportunities that they have in their local context, their local environment. So as I just said, the unit of analysis of my 9 cases were the municipality, due to the fact that we do not have specific region in the area. So I had to compare similar cases. So I focus on the European offices of this municipality, and I got 9 cases, 3 Albanian municipality, Gjirokastra, Korçë and Vlora, which are here in the southern part of Albania, Bitola, Kriva Palanka and Struga in Macedonia, and Haskovo, Kyustendil and Ruse in Bulgaria. So one of you can ask me why I decided to choose this specific municipality and not other. I just follow a specific reasoning. So starting from the AEBR map, which is on the most intensive CBC area of this specific country, I divided in different types the different region, the different intensive cross-border area of the map of the AEBR, and I've chosen the most active, trying also to cover the whole geographical area of these 3 countries. That's why I decided these 9 cases. So the variables that I used to measure the level of policy entrepreneurship within this municipality in terms of cross-border cooperation are the first 3 I got from the theory of Berkman, so the organization of the office, the employees, the skill, the knowledge, the training that the department involved in CBC activities have done in the last EU budget framework, the resource base, so the diversification of the resource that this municipality use in terms of cross-border activities. And I have to say that in terms of resource base, unfortunately, these municipalities are working in cross-border cooperation only using EU funds, so EPA, CBC programs, or the European territorial bilateral programs. The appropriation, so the legitimation, the relevance that local leaders and local actors give to cross-border activities. Diversity management and ideological compatibility are the 2 added variables that I use within this framework of these 3 countries, trying to define the capability, the practical capability of one municipality to exploit in positive terms the skills, the network, the knowledge of the minority groups living in border area. As you know, a lot of minority groups are living in border areas in Europe, but specifically in Southeast Europe. So some cases had the idea to exploit the network and the skills of these minority groups, some other less. And the ideological compatibility was focused on the compatibility, exactly, on the political inclination in terms of ethnic, nationalistic perspective and ideology to cooperate with the neighborhoods. As final outcome, as I said, these municipalities are working on CBC activities only with EU funds, so I took as final outcome the implemented projects by this municipality. And as research design, I found out my conclusion through 160 interviews that I divide in 4 groups, so stakeholders in terms of economic actors, civil society, mainly the civil society and economic actors, experts, so people engaged and expert in this topic, EU officer, so national authority or JTS, representative of public authorities, so these 9 municipalities, but also representative of other levels of administration. As a final conclusion, I found out, probably because it's still a fresh activity, the cross-border cooperation in the area, a static approach in engaging policy entrepreneurship, at least in these 3 countries. So I divided the policy entrepreneurship in 2 levels, let's say, a static approach and more active approach, and basically all of the cases are more sweet to the first level than the second level, even if there is a tendency to go to the second level of policy entrepreneurship. And what is the final expression of my dissertation? We have on the right side, so policy entrepreneurship is positive when we have as pillar of these cross-border activities a good structure organization in terms of employee, skills, management of the municipality, and a positive appropriation, so a positive legitimation to the cross-border activities in the local area. And as added value, which is replaceable, the diversity management or the ideological compatibility. As negative expression, we have a negative organization, so a negative and not well-structured organization within the municipality working on cross-border cooperation, negative resource base, so no diversification in terms of funds, and negative ideological compatibility. Here you have 2 graphics, 2 schemes. The first one represents the relation between the EU membership status and the policy entrepreneurship. So it's a proportional relation. We can see on the lowest area the 3 Albanian cases. So as you know, Albania got the status of as candidate country just a few months ago, and they got the lowest level of policy entrepreneurship in being engaged in policy entrepreneurship in cross-border cooperation. The second level we have FYROM, so Macedonia, and the third level, as you know, Bulgaria is already part of the EU, got the highest level of policy entrepreneurship in cross-border cooperation. And down as second scheme, you can see the relation between the top-down forces and the bottom-up forces. We spoke also with Mr. Moiso yesterday about this. There is a kind of shift. You know that cross-border cooperation started at the end of the 50s between German and Dutch border through the activity of local actors in terms of political, economic, cultural actors. Now, what I've found out in Southeast Europe, it's much more a top-down forces. So basically, the cross-border cooperation is more and more found by the EU projects, and there is no a real effective activism of local actors in terms of political actors or economic actors. But this is changing with time, with experience. In fact, we have that Bulgaria cases have a stronger bottom-up approach than the Albanian cases. And some, as last slide, some policy implication. I would say that it will be important to stress the economic factors, because they are working only as CBC structure with EU funds, which is not enough, and in particular in these areas 85% are funded by the EU and 50% by the national level. So basically the local level are not stimulated to create, to find new solutions and to work on this fundraising in terms of cross-border cooperation. So we could even think to a new methods in terms of call for proposal, financing call for proposal. And another relevant point that I found out comparing these 9 cases, it would be even useful, speaking still about the European projects, to have new evaluation criteria taking into account the diversity management. So to integrate and to exploit in a positive term the minority groups living in the area it could be useful to have also a new criteria in the call for proposal. So just an example, in Struga, as you know, it's a Macedonian municipality. We have a majority of Albania, and in Bitola also there is a minority, Albanian minority. Bitola had the opportunity to exploit, okay, just in one project, but they could involve the Albanian minority. Struga, on the contrary, could not involve this minority, so they do not have any project with the Albanian counterpart, but they have two projects with the Greek counterpart, which is strange. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Gianfranco. I think very interesting. I knew already your work because we were following it, but I think it's important that you put it here for the knowledge of our colleagues, participants, etc. Also, thank you for the proposals that you put at the end. I think we can have the chance to discuss with the EU some of these issues, but even other departments of the European Commission, because I think it's very relevant what you said, especially when we're thinking of cross-border cooperation players outside the EU. But even inside. Anyway, we have pendant a long discussion about this kind of things. Thank you very much for your contribution. Well, and last but not least, I will give the floor now to our colleague Sandra Simic in order to give us an overview of 10 years of European territorial cooperation in the Republic of Serbia.
Thank you, Mike. Should I go there on groups? Okay.
No, you don't have to go. You can sit and
Imate dalje?
Yes.
Okay.
The bosses.
To my presentation. As Branislav has said, mentioned, and Martin has said, many examples of cross-border cooperation started way before EU decided to fund it. And starting from 1958, the first Euro region, 30 years later, EU funds came to fund it. First EU funds that are funding cross-border cooperation programs, Interreg programs, so-called back then, came in 1990s. So cross-border cooperation is not cross-border cooperation EU-funded programs. Cross-border cooperation is first a cooperation between people in the border areas that came out of need to solve joint problems. EU-funded programs are just one of the tools to support that cooperation. And unfortunately, in EU non-member states, but in a lot of other countries, cross-border cooperation is mixed with actually EU-funded programs, which is not the case, and it should not be the case. And I'm sure that Berkman didn't have that in mind when he made like analysis of cross-border cooperation, definition of cross-border cooperation, and analysis of good structures, because structure that is being financed from EU CBC programs is not a good structure. It is not sustainable structure, first of all, because our programs are being implemented in a way that people make project proposals and other people select projects, you know. So that is not sustainable, and that is not a tool to finance structures. Structures should be sustainable, structures should come from the need to create structures in order to solve the problems. And we have a good case for that, you know, the Euro region, DKMT, I'm trying to make an acronym in English, DKMT, exists 17 years. So that means that it was created 7 years before the programs came to Serbia. Now we have this Euro region that I cannot pronounce in English.
DKMT.
DKMT. I have to write it down and then to spell it again. We have DKMT as an applicant. So that is the point, you know, and that is something that really makes a value added to our programs.